10 dangerous truths leaders don't want you to know. What if everything you believed about leaders, bosses, and authority figures was a carefully crafted illusion? What if the smiles, the promises, the gestures of kindness were designed not to comfort you, but to control you? Welcome to the Mask of Power, 10 dangerous truths leaders don't want you to know. This is not a lesson in history or morality, it is an unflinching look at the mechanics of influence, manipulation, and control. The first truth is simple but brutal: appearances deceive. Humans are hardwired to trust what they see. A confident voice, a reassuring smile, a polished image, these can all mask ruthless intentions. Leaders understand this instinct. They know that most people do not seek the truth, they seek comfort. They know that when you are presented with a convincing mask, you accept it willingly. You admire it, you defend it, you follow it. Behind every smile, behind every flattering word, there is often a calculation, a strategy, a motive designed to maintain power. Virtue, as leaders understand, is not necessarily a principle, it is a performance. A display of honesty, generosity, or morality is not always genuine. It is designed to influence perception, to shape belief, to create the illusion of trustworthiness. And when people trust the appearance, they ignore the hidden truth. They allow themselves to be guided by comfort, not reality. This is the core of the first dangerous truth: the face you see may be a mask, and behind it lies an entirely different agenda. The second truth is equally unsettling: morality can be weaponized. Leaders know that words like justice, honor, and freedom carry immense weight. They know that if people believe their leader is acting morally, obedience becomes almost automatic. Ideals, ethics, and belief systems can all be bent to justify actions that serve only the interests of those in power. This is not a relic of the past. It happens every day, in every organization, in every society. Leaders invoke morality, but often they serve only themselves. And because humans want to believe, the mask works. People follow willingly, even when their obedience comes at a personal cost. The third truth is that fear is stronger than love. Love is fragile, conditional, and fleeting. Fear is enduring, precise, and deeply imprinted in the human mind. Those who wield fear understand that it can maintain order, enforce boundaries, and ensure obedience far more reliably than affection or admiration. Fear is not cruelty for cruelty's sake, it is a tool. It creates discipline, restrains betrayal, and enforces compliance. When applied carefully, it lasts far longer than admiration ever could. The fourth truth is that division is a weapon. Leaders understand that unity among those they rule is dangerous. Disagreement, rivalry, and competition among subordinates or citizens are exploited strategically. By keeping people divided, attention scattered, and focus misdirected, leaders maintain control without direct confrontation. People fight among themselves, waste energy on conflicts, and fail to challenge the authority that benefits from their distraction. Division is deliberate. It is intentional. And it is highly effective. The fifth truth is that narrative controls perception. Leaders understand that human beings are ruled more by stories than by facts. The information they provide, the images they display, the repeated phrases and slogans all shape belief. Emotion overrides logic. Coherent stories are more convincing than fragmented facts. Repetition solidifies belief. Leaders, corporations, governments, and media exploit this instinct constantly. When narratives are controlled, perception is controlled. When perception is controlled, obedience is ensured. The sixth truth is that dependence creates loyalty. People abandon affection when opportunity or convenience arises. They rarely abandon necessity. Leaders who ensure that others rely on them financially, strategically, socially secure obedience far more reliably than those who inspire love or admiration. When people's future, safety, or success depends on the leader, they cannot act against them without risking themselves. Dependence replaces devotion, creating compliance that is almost impossible to break. The seventh truth is that generosity is most effective when rare. Constant giving diminishes its value, creating entitlement or expectation. Strategic, calculated generosity binds people to the giver. A timely reward or a deliberate act of mercy ensures gratitude, loyalty, and compliance. This principle applies in workplaces, politics, and relationships alike. Generosity is a weapon, not a virtue when overused. The eighth truth is that control is maintained through perception management. Every gesture, every communication, every visual impression is calculated. Leaders know that controlling how others interpret reality is far more effective than controlling reality itself. If perception is shaped correctly, people will defend the system willingly, even when it works against their interests. Manipulation of belief is more powerful than manipulation of circumstance. The ninth truth is that patience and timing are essential instruments of power. Leaders understand that impulsive actions destroy influence. Decisions are delayed until maximum effect can be achieved. Threats, promises, rewards, and punishments are administered precisely when they will produce the greatest compliance. Timing ensures that control is sustained, that resistance is minimized, and that influence is amplified. The 10th and final truth is that true power is rarely visible. The most effective leaders rarely rely solely on force, charisma, or authority. They control systems, perceptions, dependence, and narratives. They act subtly, invisibly, almost imperceptibly. The machinery of control is hidden behind appearances, morality, fear, division, and dependence. By the time people realize they are being controlled, it is too late. These truths are not hypothetical. They are operational principles that govern human interaction at every level. From governments to corporations, from social hierarchies to interpersonal relationships, these forces operate silently and relentlessly. Awareness is the only defense. Understanding that appearances deceive, that morality can be manipulated, that fear endures where love falters, that division distracts, that narrative shapes perception, that dependence secures loyalty, that generosity must be calculated, that perception is managed, that timing is critical, and that real power is often invisible. This is the knowledge that allows you to navigate the systems of influence without being consumed by them. The Mask of Power, 10 Dangerous Truths Leaders Don't Want You to Know is not just a lesson about leadership. It is a revelation about human nature. About why we follow. About why we obey. About why we accept illusions and defend the very structures that control us. The moment you see the machinery behind the mask, you are no longer blind. You begin to understand that power is never taken by accident nor maintained by force alone. It is orchestrated, calculated, and perpetuated by those who understand these truths. Awareness is your first step toward mastery, not of others, but of yourself. Once you understand the mask, you see the world as it truly is, and the illusions of power begin to unravel.